Alright, welcome back to level 2 of Museum of Frost and Flame. In this second stage, we're still rolling with the same frost and flame powers our hero had before. So, right here at the starting point, we can see a mechanism. Well, okay, we actually can't trigger it yet. Oh, and there's a door that just won't open. You see, this setup at the start is meant to force players to really look around. Check it out, we have to jump down this side passage here. Now, watch out for this first ramp. We've added some safe spots here to give players a bit of a mental breather. You can just hang out in the corner like this until the snowball passes, or of course, you can use your skills to handle it. Alright, we've made it to the second floor balcony. There's a spatial interaction mechanism here. This is actually our first logic loop of the level. Your actions change the environment, which opens up a new path. It's really meant to show the player that the environment is dynamic. By spinning the mechanism, we use the snowball's own momentum to unlock the door that was stuck. Let's keep moving. So, on the second floor, the difficulty really starts to ramp up. The passage gets narrower here, so there's no room to hide. We're basically encouraging players to get active with their skills, specifically using flame arrows to shrink the snowballs. This isn't just about clearing the path, it's actually a mechanical preview for the Silk Bind move in the upcoming boss battle. Now, let's interact with this spatial mechanism to rotate the ramp. This guides the snowball into the target slot to open the door. Yeah, exactly. The environment is dynamic, and that's a huge part of the puzzles. Look, the first door is open, so we can head into the next area. Moving into the water zone now. Naturally, your first instinct is to use frost arrows to turn water into ice. This is really our first time restructuring the environment's physics. See, we're literally building a path across the river to get through. Like I said, we're always nudging the player to observe the environment. When we hit a ledge that's too high, just look right here, there's a block of ice. We can actually use leverage to tilt it and create a temporary ramp for ourselves. Now, we're facing a tougher challenge. This is an advanced version of the water to ice mechanic. Players need to figure out how the mechanism works. Basically, it's an elevator. So, we hop on, and we can see that enlarging the ice blocks on the waterfall will trigger the lift, carrying us up to the higher platforms. Alright, now we're getting into the most important aggro mechanic of this level, flying monsters seeking fire. This is a direct preview of the boss's Moth to a Flame move. By using this mechanism, we can move the torch over the artifact and enlarge it to create holy light, which lures all those flying pests right in. This is where we pull off the 3 frost, 1 flame execution combo. You stack 3 frost arrows to freeze them solid, and then hit them with 1 flame arrow to trigger the explosion. Then, we use the weight of the falling ice chunks to smash the corrupted artifact and purify it. Purification complete. Now, we can use our teleportation skill to fly across. By following the refracted light paths, we can do multiple blinks in a row. Alright, get ready, because the real challenge is about to start. Time for phase 1. Under that dead tree, the silkworm egg is soaking up energy from the torches, creating this hexagram array around itself. Those fireballs seem to be the links for the array. Maybe they're easy to break. This part is all about the parry mechanic. When your frost arrow hits a fireball, it reflects it back at the egg. Once we parry all the fireballs, we move to the next phase. In phase 2, the egg hatches into its silkworm form. The boss absorbs energy from the torches and blasts out these circular shockwaves that'll hurt if they touch you. Because of energy conservation, the boss shrinking those light sources means the torches get smaller. Actually, it'll pick a random torch, shrink it to minimum, and snuff it out. You'll see it flashing when it happens. This really makes the player pay attention to the boss's energy drain, so you have to enlarge the light sources before or after the skill to stop the fight from resetting. It adds a nice layer of strategy. To handle the shockwaves, you've gotta recognize the wind up and use frost arrows to enlarge an ice sculpture to hide behind. When the wave hits the ice, it'll shrink the block instead of hitting you. So, you really have to keep an eye on those ice blocks and plan your safe zones. Also, the boss will launch silk bind attacks. If they hit, you're stuck for 3 seconds. These are basically large ice projectiles. Remember the snowballs from earlier? You can shoot them with flame arrows to dodge or break free. So, there's definitely some survival pressure here, and you'll need some quick thinking to stay alive. In the third phase, the boss enters cocoon form, which can transform light sources into small flying monsters in the air. This is where that moth to a flame aggro and the 3 frost, 1 flame combo come back into play. We enlarge the central torch to pull the minions over the cocoon, and then freeze them so they drop. You need 5 solid hits to break the shell. Also, keep an eye on the torch size, don't let that light go out. Plus, there's a time limit. If you don't break it fast enough, you'll be kicked back to phase 2. And now look, the moth boss has arrived. The silkworm and moth have separate health bars 100 each, but they share an energy pool of 100. The moth circles above and rains down ice crystals across the whole arena. This can stack with the silkworm's shockwaves to create a Song of Ice and Fire effect, which is pretty dangerous. Basically, as long as you're under the light, you're safe. So, that pressure really forces you to keep creating holy light. Because of that moth aggro, the moth boss will try to ram into any torch emitting holy light. If there isn't one, it'll lock onto you instead. Just a heads up, a torch will go out after being hit, but the impact will also stun the moth for 8 seconds and expose its weak spot. Just like those minions earlier, this is your cue to use the 3 frost, 1 flame combo for big damage. During the fight, you can use your teleport skill to blink to safe platforms. Once both health bars hit 0, you've won. Thanks so much for watching.